Some of the hardest working people I've ever met are the people working on cruise ships. Imagine being away from your friends and family back home for months and months at a time, working up to 14 hours a day, every day, with little time off, and while you're doing that, the people you meet every day are on vacation having the time of their lives. We have the utmost respect and appreciation for the crew on these cruise ships, and during our many cruises, we have learned a lot about how to show that appreciation. Today, I'm going to cover 6 things people need to do or do differently when interacting with your cruise ship's crew to let them know that you appreciate all of their hard work. Hi everyone, I'm Jamie from Sharonatsea Travel. My family and I have been lucky enough to be on over 50 cruises, and the one thing that always amazes us is the effort put forth by the crew to make sure that we have a great experience every time. Out of all those cruises, I can probably count on just one hand the number of times we've had any real issue with a rude or indifferent crew member. We've met some amazing people along the way and even made friends with a number of the crew, and we've heard a lot of stories about the good and the bad that the crew go through each week when the ship says goodbye to the current passengers and welcomes on board another 3,000 or so new guests. Now, I know the crew will be ready to bend over backwards to take care of those guests, and today I'm going to share just 6 ways the guests can return the favor to the crew. Number 1, be aware that there can and will be a language barrier with many of the crew members. Almost every person you'll meet on that ship will be from a different country than yours. It'll be rare to find anyone that will speak English as a first language. The cruise line will try to make sure that the crew members that you will encounter will be able to communicate with you, but have some patience and remember that if you engage a crew member in more than just some basic interaction that has to do with their role on the ship, they may not follow everything you're saying or asking about. Don't get frustrated if someone doesn't understand you. Just go find another crew member or a supervisor for that area that has a greater understanding of the English language, and I'm sure they will be able to help you out. Next, take care of your cabin stewards. Now, I want you to think of the messiest person you know. Can you visualize that? Now multiply that mess by like 10. Okay, that's what these cabin stewards are cleaning up every day. They're there to make your bed, clean and sanitize the restroom, and tidy up your cabin a bit. That's it. So please, when leaving your cabin, don't leave piles of clothes all over the bed or things all over the floor, because the cabin steward will end up folding things and cleaning them up too. But that's not really their job, and you're making things harder for them. They're taking up more time to do that and taking time away from other guests that may need their attention. Now, I'm not saying to make your cabin spotless before they come in to do their thing. I'm just saying to be a little courteous and don't make their jobs harder than they already are. While we're on the topic of cabin stewards, and at the risk of rubbing some people the wrong way, there are a lot of cruisers that enjoy getting gifts for their cabin stewards. Maybe it's a souvenir from their hometown, maybe it's some homemade treats or candy bars or other snacks, and these folks are awesome for doing that. But the reality is the crew don't really have room in their cabins for souvenirs, and they're usually instructed not to eat homemade treats, plus maybe they don't want to eat something cooked at home and brought on the cruise by a total stranger. And they may or may not want any of the other goodies you may have for them as well. If you really want to show your appreciation, give them cash. That's right, cash. That is what they need more than anything else. Or, and here's another cool idea, when you're going off the ship for the day, ask them if they need anything from the port area. That way you can get them the exact thing that they need. Lastly, in the event that you have any unopened beverages left at the end of your cruise, sodas, beer, wine, whatever, let them know that they're welcome to take it. And that way, if they want it, and they're allowed to have it, they'll know it's meant for them. Again, we love people that take care of the crew. Just make sure you give them what they really want and need, and not what you think they want and need. Next, parents, please keep the kids in check. Now, our son's been cruising his whole life, and he has learned to appreciate the crew just like we do, but we all know that teens can get a little feisty, and they love to entertain or impress the other kids they're with. I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids being rude with the crew, or laughing at crew members because of their accents, and it hurts me to see that. It's everything I can do not to engage that teen in a conversation the same way that I would with my own child, but I know, I get it, that's not appropriate, nor will it really change anything. We've always told our son whenever he leaves the cabin to go out and hang out on the cruise ship to make good decisions and do not negatively impact someone else's cruise, and that goes for the guests as well as the staff and the crew. Just please let the kids know about the crew, how they all came from different countries and different situations, and remind them to be respectful and nice to whoever they encounter. All right, number 5, be pleasant but not personal. We enjoy striking up a conversation with friendly crew members, and we'll ask them questions about where they're from, how long they've worked on the ship, and stuff like that. But we wait to see how the conversation goes before getting into more personal topics like, are you married or do you have kids back home, until we see how engaging they want to be. Many crew just get right into the conversation, but we don't want to bring up something that might be a little bit of a sensitive issue. Quite often they'll volunteer personal information and then you know the door's open to talk about it, but wait for them to give those personal topics the okay. Then when they do, listen to what they're saying, because sometimes they just like to take a minute to talk about life. Finally, make sure to give the crew their space. What I mean by that is if you see a crew member that's obviously off the clock, maybe they're eating or out of uniform, hanging out with others, I know you might want to run up to them for a picture, do a selfie or tell them how great they were in the show that you saw, but try to resist and let them enjoy their downtime. Now, I'm the same way. There have been times I see an entertainer around the ship, or maybe even the cruise directors grabbing a bite to eat, and I want to say hi or say, hey, what's going on with this? Or what are we doing later? Or what can you tell me about that? Or ask them a question. Before you do, just try to feel out the situation before engaging them in a conversation so you don't put them in an awkward position where they feel like they have to talk to you, but they only have a few minutes until they need to be somewhere else or back on their shift or something like that. Just keep in mind that their free time is limited, so try to catch them when they're on the clock and not off the clock. And if you do it at the right time, I bet they'll be very happy to take a few minutes to talk, answer your questions, and get that selfie. So there you go. A few things that you can do for the crew to make sure that while they're working hard to give you a great vacation, you are returning the favor by being a great cruiser. What do they say? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or something like that. Before you go, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and stopping by the channel again. I think we have a number of awesome videos that can help you to have a great cruise experience. And we always appreciate your time. And as usual, if you're in the market for an awesome and very experienced travel agent, contact Sharon at the email below right here to start planning your next cruise vacation on any cruise ship from anywhere at any time. Thanks very much for hanging out with me today and watching the video, and we'll see you in the next video.